Alright guys, welcome back. I am really excited to share this lesson with you today. Today we are going to be working on a lesson that is all about using line in landscape. So we are going to make our paper go vertically. You can see the whole thing on here. We are going to be using line and color today. So it doesn't matter to me what colors you use. You could even mix it up and use crayons or markers, or if you have colored pencils, that would be great also. The biggest thing to me is that we are using line and we are showing foreground, midground, and background, just like we did in our desert landscape project. So the first thing first is we are going to draw a foreground hill. So with a pencil, we are just going to draw a little curved line like that. Then we need to add another hill behind that. So we're just going to add about a quarter of the way up the paper, another hill that comes in and can go all the way across your paper, totally up to you. Behind that one, we're going to add our midground, so we're going to add another hill or horizon line, and then we're going to add two more hills on top of this to make our far away background. So let's have one hill that comes in this side, maybe one more on this side. So right now it looks like we have a lot of lines on a paper. And that's okay, because that's our goal today. We're going to use a lot of different lines. I think for my design I'm going to use vertical lines, diagonal lines, and horizontal lines. And the next step is we are just going to choose colors we want to fill in for our different parts of the landscape. So I think for my really close foreground parts, I'm going to choose analogous colors, colors that are next to each other on the color wheel. And I think I'm going to start light, so maybe yellow and this bright green. So I'm going to first use vertical lines, and the first thing I'm going to do is just go straight up and down from the very edge of my line all the way to the bottom of my paper. You can see that I have a messy mat underneath my paper, just so that way I can go right off the edge of my paper and not have to worry about getting it on anyone's table or getting markers on something that I should not be coloring on. So I have my messy mat underneath me. You could always use scrap paper for your messy mat if you don't have a big piece of construction paper like I have. So I am just going to keep going all the way till I fill out my corner. Then for my next one, I think I'm going to use diagonal lines to go diagonally from the edge of my paper to the line for my very first foreground line. So I'm going to keep going. I'm trying to keep my lines about the same distance apart, but you know, just try your very hardest. And it's up to you which kinds of lines you would like to use for each section. Maybe you want to do wavy lines or zigzag lines. Make it interesting. It is your drawing. Now, I think I'm going to stick with my transitioning into rainbow mode and use a teal marker. For my midground right here, I think I'm going to do horizontal lines to really break it up, because these are vertical, these are diagonal. I think if we do horizontal, it will help show that it is a landscape. Maybe I'll make mine a little wavy horizontal to go with this line. So I'm going to match my top line, and again, go all the way side to side of your paper. If you have a messy mat, you can start off of your paper and go back onto the edge. Ooh, that one got really close. And then I'm going to have to add one more little baby one right here. Okay, two more, and then we are going to work on the sky. I think I'm going to do the same pattern again. So I'm going to do vertical lines in this one. Staying inside your lines, I think it's harder than having the messy mat underneath you. But again, don't worry if you go right over your edge, because we are going to use a black marker or crayon or colored pencil to make sure our lines are super clean at the end. So don't stress. And then after that, I'm going to have my last hill be purple. Remember, I'm doing this at teacher speed. I'm not expecting you to make your whole assignment happen in 3 minutes, okay? Don't worry. You can take your time, and just like in class, if you don't love your first one, flip your paper over. Try it again. This is also a good chance for me to remind you that the type of paper you use does not matter to me. You can use old envelopes, you can use grocery store bags, like a paper bag. Totally up to you. Okay, now for the sky. This part is going to be really fun, and obviously we are going to add something up here. I know we all really love to draw sunsets, so today we are going to make a line version of a sun setting in the sky. You know how when you look right at a sun as the sun is setting, and it's like a big ball, and then you can almost see the colors getting darker away from it? That's what we're going to work on. So, if you really want, you could trace something that's a circle, but for this, since we're all about lines anyway, I don't think we have to worry about it. I want you to try your hardest to draw a circle-ish shape. Inside your circle, maybe you want to do a swirl, or you could have done concentric circles, meaning circles inside circles inside circles. Then on the outside of our sun, I would like you to draw a circle, and then a circle, and then another circle, and then another circle. But remember, your sun is setting behind these hills, so make sure you go behind your hills. You can go off your paper if you need to. We're going to keep going behind our hills, pop out the other side, behind our hills, pop out the other side, maybe one more behind our hills, pop out the other side. And now here is where I want you to start to overlap. So this is my next color where I'm going to go off my paper, come off my paper. Oh, that was thick. Off my paper, off my paper. Gonna just keep continuing out. Now I'm gonna have us overlap some of our colors. So I don't want this just to go like orange to red right off the bat. So I'm going to go a red in between some of these oranges. And in between on this side. Let's see, one more like that. And if you want, these ones are kind of spread out. I might add a couple more oranges. This is totally up to you how you want this to look. This is your drawing. And I know I used my yellow at the very beginning, but I think I'm going to add a bright yellow swirl on the inside of my sun. And then maybe a couple bright yellows right around the first layer, like that. I think I'm going to go back in with a medium orange and do a couple more circles so it looks really filled in. Okay, like, ooh, I like that, I think. So we have vertical lines, diagonal lines, wavy lines, vertical, diagonal, and then circles on circles on circles for our line sunset. Now, if you have a black marker or a Sharpie or a black crayon, oh, I don't have a black marker in there. We're going to use a black crayon. You can grab your crayon or your marker or your Sharpie, and we're just going to trace right over where we drew our pencil lines. We want to make sure we're still focused on our craftsmanship throughout this project. We don't want to be scribbling. We want to make sure we are focusing on having a positive, good result. So, if you need to go over it a couple times to make sure that you're getting all of your pencil lines covered, that's great. We are going to come back through each and every line. I kind of like how the crayon looks. It's like adding texture to it. And we're going to come back all the way through. Our last step today is we're going to add a couple trees in our landscape. These are going to be in shadow because the sun is behind our trees. So maybe I'm going to add my first tree right on this first ledge right here. So I'm going to draw the trunk of the tree. And of course, the tree in the front is going to be bigger because it is closer to the person standing here looking at this picture. And I'm just going to add my branches, making organic lines, and then adding some little branches off of it. And filling it in. All right, there is my first tree. Now my second tree, I think I'm going to have way up here on our very back hill. So I'm of course going to make this one smaller. My branches don't need to be as thick either. See how I'm just kind of making little lines that connect. You can add little branches that come off of it. And then, guys, we are done. So this is the goal for the assignment. I want you to have at least 3 different types of lines. I want you to add 2 trees or more. Maybe you want to have more trees than that. That would be fine. And I want you to come up with some sort of sky sunset. You could do the same thing and have it be yellow with like different blues for a blue sky. That is up to you. So I think you can do this. When you're finished, please make sure you remember to take a picture of it and upload it to our assignment. If you don't push submit, we will not be able to see it. So make sure you try your hardest, and we cannot wait to see what you guys come up with. Have a great week. I really miss you guys. Bye.